What's up guys, today I'd like to show you how you can start building your first AI application in LangChain. The process is very simple and smooth. I'll guide you through that, so please relax and enjoy.
So guys, before start working on the LangChain project, make sure that you have installed the following libraries. I had a separate video on how to install the LangChain. It's pretty quick and simple. You can watch it as well. Anyway, I will keep this under description. All the commands and all the code will be available for you guys. So once you install the libraries, here comes the idea of the LangChain. And the primary idea of the LangChain is to utilize the functionality of the external large language models, either private ones like ChatGPT or Cloud, or open source ones like Llama or DeepSeek. So this is the primary goal of the LangChain, is to utilize the power of AI LLMs and build the products around that. So in this case, I'm going to use the OpenAI model via API. So for that, I would recommend you to create an OpenAI account and request the API. So again, the link will be on the description. So this is where you can request the API key in OpenAI platform. And here you can create a new secret key where, let's say, we call it test, click default, and now we can create a secret key, right? So once you create, you can copy this key. And what you should do next is create some variable. It can be hidden like in a .env file, right? And then you can just pass it here. But the important note here is that the variable should be called exactly like that: OpenAI underscore API underscore key. Okay. So once you have it, you can load it using these two commands, and then you can start working with the OpenAI model. Other available models on the platform include Anthropic models from Cloud. OpenAI I mentioned already. The Vertex AI is a Google models, Grok as well, Hugging Face. You can use some open source, as I mentioned, NVIDIA, Llama, and much more. And all of them have a functionality to play with them inside the LangChain. As you can see, they have the corresponding packages. So in this case, as we use the langchain-openai, we will use the langchain-openai package. And to load it, it's pretty simple. So we need to load it like this from langchain-openai. We need to import chat-openai. Okay. So once we load it, we can start to initialize our, first of all, API key. And the next one is we can start defining our LLM model. So the simple way would be just to call the method directly using this function, chat OpenAI, and if you click, it will work. Assuming that in the previous step, you have defined the variable, the OpenAI key, and you have loaded using the load.env. So let's say you can always load it here as well directly, but it is less secure. So, and let's say you have a variety of models to play around in OpenAI, right? We can try OpenAI 4 models, ChatGPT 4, ChatGPT 4 or ChatGPT 3.5. So how you can specify this? You would need to define the argument here as a model. And here you can specify the model name. So in this case, we can start with GPT 3.5 Turbo model. And if you are familiar with the common arguments for LLMs, we can also define the temperature, right? And as you know, the temperature lets us to define how creative the LLM should be, from 0 meaning very logical to 1 meaning very creative. So for this case, we can keep it as 0. Then we can initialize our model using this. You can see that, and the next would be to run some tests, right? So it's pretty simple. In using LangChain, we can just run llm.invoke method, and where inside we can define our prompt. For example, we can say, what is the LangChain? Click run, and now we get the response, right? So we can also set a variable to receive the response. And here, if we want to see the result, we will access it using the content. And you can see we have the result directly from the OpenAI GPT 3.5 model via API. Pretty simple. We also can access the response metadata to see how many tokens were used in the prompt, in the completion, number of total tokens, the model name used, and so on. So this is pretty simple, but let's say we want to give some context to the model. In this case, to give the context to the model, we would need to import the LangChain templates, the chat prompt template. And using this chat prompt template, we can give some context to the prompt, right? We can set the context for the system that will be, let's say, you are an investment analyst, which is really good to analyze stocks. Okay, so this is our context for the LLM, pretty simple. And for the user, we can keep it as placeholder for the future iterations. So we can keep it like this. You can see that we keep it inside the string. So it's just the way how the chat prompt template functions. We need to keep the variables inside the string, but the system will recognize it because we have the curly braces here. So we define the prompt, and then what we need to do is to combine the LLM that we initialized in the previous step with the prompt. And to do that, the LangChain lets us to define the chains. That's where the name actually comes, the LangChain. So, and chain is simply the workflow of the different functions that we define for our program. Keep in mind that the order here is important. So we should start first with the prompt, and then we will use the special character. This is used for the pipeline methods. As we use here the pipeline, combining the prompt and the LLM, we will use this sign. Now we define the chain, and the next step would be to run the algorithm again. As you can see here, we can define the input variable here, corresponds to this place. And the next we can define our prompt that will correspond to the input variable. So let's say we'll ask it, what do you think about NVIDIA? Okay, pretty simple. Click run. So now it runs the prompt. As you can see, the chain results in this answer. And if we want to get the response or access, we will need to access content, right? So as investment analyst, I have a positive outlook on NVIDIA, and so on. Great. Simplify this process. Instead of accessing the result as response.content, we can import the string parser using the package langchain-core output parsers, import string output parser. And what we also need to do is we need to define our parser like that. So once we have it, the next step would be to add the string output parser to our chain. And rerun our model, our chain. And now you can see we got the string results immediately without accessing any content inside the prompt. So it's direct output as a string thanks to the output parser. As you can see, it all works great. Asking the ChatGPT about some companies in the past, but what if I want to ask something more recently, right? For example, what if I want to ask the model about some NVIDIA achievements in 2024. And as you can see, it tells me straight away that it's unable to provide real-time information and don't have access to the current data. And that's where the RAG approach can be very handy. And I'm going to explain what the RAG means and why it's so hyped and why it's so trendy at the moment, why everyone is trying to sell you RAG, and all of the you hear is about the RAG. So next video, I'm going to cover this. Stay tuned.